All right, I want to do a video today on your confidence in your ability to be able to recover. So, not necessarily like the whole like fake it till you make it, be confident, you got this, but like your confidence going into starting recovery oftentimes is extremely low for one very, very common reason, and that is because you've tried how many times to recover and you've ended up in the exact same place you started. I know for me, I'm not over exaggerating when I say probably at least 100 times. I would come up with a plan, or I'd start working with a outpatient team, or I would gather up, a bunch of like self-help books and journals, and I would have like this new plan, and I would fail every single time. I mean, maybe sometimes like I would make progress and I'd be like, oh, okay, I'm doing better. And I'd get to this like state, like we've talked about, of like sort of halfway being recovered, maybe not even that, but just like better, staying alive, and trying to kind of go through the motions of every day. But I never was able to like really truly feel free from it. So when I decided that I was going to recover, one of the biggest reasons, one, I was very ready to. You don't always necessarily have to be very ready or very, very motivated to start recovery. You just want to make that know. Sometimes it just needs to be done. You got to do it. But I wanted to, but also it was like I finally understood or comprehended what was actually going on in my brain. So like I had a really clear idea of how this eating disorder actually operates. And if I understood how it operated, I felt like I could come in from a different angle and like really just shut it down, which is exactly what we talk about here on the channel all the time, is opposite actions, right? Like rewiring is going to take a lot of hard work to do the opposite of what it is that you naturally have been doing for so long. So that really nice, easily deeply entrenched pathway that, takes no effort to follow, you're going to have to start going against that. And you're going to realize that every second of your day has been contaminated by your dang eating disorder. So it's extremely exhausting, right? So when I realized that that's what it's going to take, it's not going to take like writing in my journal about my feelings. It's not going to take going to support groups, that like talk about how awful eating disorders are. It's actually going to take like the actual nitty gritty doing the stuff. Eating the food, resting, not doing any kind of weird lower level movement, or playing games with my, challenging foods, which would look like challenging a food and then restricting or compensating after. Those are just games, is how I see it. So once I understood that that's what it was going to take, I started to feel a little bit pumped up, because the reason I didn't have any confidence before was because none of my plans worked. So I just assumed recovery wasn't for me. Like recovery is just not going to work for me. But I kind of started feeling hopeful, because I was like, but wait a second here. I have actually not tried this approach. This is something I've never heard of. This is something I've actually never even experimented or attempted to do. So I got like really pumped up about it, and it just made a lot of logical sense to me. And if I'm being honest, like I was freaking starving before I started recovery. When I was really being honest with myself and my mental hunger, I didn't even know what that was before I started recovering. But when I realized and comprehended what mental hunger was, I was like, holy freaking crap, I'm starving. So of course I wanted that permission to be able to eat a lot of food. So that confidence came as I actually put in the work that was going to get me recovered. So if you're a person sitting here listening thinking, yeah, that's me, I've tried to recover a million times and I haven't, what's going to be different this time? What's going to change? Or I've even tried going all in before, what's going to change? Well, you've tried it, but you haven't actually committed fully to doing it. You've probably kind of dipped your toe in, tried it for a few days, felt uncomfortable, started questioning things, maybe felt too extreme, started having doubts, and then you ran back. And then you kind of did that again, you ran back. So you keep doing the same thing, and you're going to keep failing at getting to where you're ultimately wanting to get. So you have to do something you've never done. And that's really scary, right? That's terrifying. But when you start doing it, like I talked about the other day, doing it just for one day, then you get the confidence in knowing that you can do it for one day. And then you do it for another day, and then you do it for another day, and then you can look and be like, whoa, I'm a person that can do this. This is actually possible. Nobody's stopping me from doing this. For some reason, I had this mental block in my head that I couldn't do this, but I just did it. And it wasn't as bad as I thought or envisioned it being in my head. So the way you build confidence, in a nutshell here, in your ability to be able to recover is by taking the first steps. Do it for a day, then do it for another day, and do it for another day, and tell me that your confidence isn't higher after a week or two. And then you're well on your way into a solid recovery. So hopefully you guys can look at yourselves honestly, stop fooling yourself, stop believing all the lies and the doubts and the fears, and really just put into action what you know you need to do. So when this video ends, I want you to go get yourself something very delicious to eat that scares you more than anything. And then sit down and read a book, put your feet up, take a nap, I don't know. But that's exactly what needs to happen for you to be able to truly rewire this eating disorder.